Hello YouTube. I've kind of painted myself into a corner. I have one project that's waiting on paint, and I have another project that's waiting on hardware being tumbled that won't be done for 2 days. So I've elected to start yet a third project here. We're going to clean up the hood and rub it out. And we should note that this hood originally had, and here's remnants of it. We're going to have to get all the glue out, but for right now, we're just going to try to get the dirt off. We'll rinse it down. We're going to turn the water on first. We'll rinse it down. Turn the fan on it to get it to dry. This is the underside of the hood. And I like to try to figure out what happened. And I think what happened here is, this is original. That's the original glue. And I think this side fell down and someone put silicone sealer in and glued it back up. Probably wasn't successful and ended up taking the whole thing off. Now I plan on putting it back. And this is what it looks like. Before I put it in there though, I want to smooth out where it's going to lay. And by that, what I mean is, there's a bead here, and it's silicone. And if I take my rubber scraper, it comes off to the point where it's smooth. Now I got to do that to the whole thing. And you can see it actually takes the silicone right off. Now this is original, and all I can do with that is smooth it out. It's permanent, it's not coming off. But this silicone I'm going to get off, and that way it'll lay flat. Now the next thing is this plate has on it the original adhesive, which means the plate was underneath the insulation, and that's the way we'll put it back together. We're going to take the plate and the hook off to buff the other side, and then we'll put it back on, and then we'll do the insulation. So I have some work cut out for me. I'll see you in a little bit. Well, I think I got quite a bit of it. this stuff that was put on by the manufacturer, it doesn't come off, but I can knock off the ridges so that at least it's flat. Let's blow this off and see what we got. Well, I think it's pretty good. I mean, I really can't. This stuff is not going to come off. And I got most of it. You can hear that it's not really proud of the metal. In fact, this contact cement that's over here makes more noise than going over the adhesive. So I think we're good to go. I think the next thing to do is to take these plates off, which holds the U-bolts on the other side, and I'm going to put them back so that it goes through the insulation. Should we ever want to take these things off, I don't want to have to pull the insulation. So it won't be the way it was stock, and it's really not a survivor. I'm going to call it, you know, close to a survivor, but it's not a survivor because the transmission has been apart. Let's rinse it down and see what we got. I want to remove these plates, nuts and bolts, from the underside of the hood so that the top side of the hood is straight forward. What's going on here? Let's try again. I got a nut on that. Ooh, son of a gun. And that one I got, so we just got to get a magnet and get that other nut. Here's the hardware that we removed from the hood, and what I'm going to do is add it to the hardware that's in the tumbler, and it'll get 2 days of tumbling versus 3, but they'll still come out looking half decent. So let's go do that. In goes the hood hardware, and we'll take it back out Friday night. Well, I'm getting ready to buff this hood out, and I think I'll give it a final wash. And then for the grins of it, I think I'm going to buff half of it and leave the other half and see what it looks like. Okay, we'll rinse that off. I gave the hood a final good washing, and then on half of the hood I did a rough cut, a finish cut, and a wax. And I'm wondering if you can tell which half was buffed out and which half is original. If you're interested, I'm going to do it on the front half now. I'm no expert at this, and what I've done is read the directions, and what they want is a clean, cool surface. They want you to use a buffer, not a grinder. This has 2 speeds, 12 and 2000, and that's what they recommend, 12 and 2000. They recommend putting the compound right on the pad, and our pad is wet from doing this part, so we don't need a whole lot. We'll try that. Now we got to be careful of the decals because we can burn right through them. Same thing with the edges. There's different grades of pads. This is a wool pad. I've had it for years and years and years. They have developed foam pads now, which are finer cuts. They would consider this a very coarse cut, and the foam pads get finer and finer. So again, we have to be careful of the edges and the decals. Now we'll go on to do the 2 sides. Now we'll wipe the residue off. I don't know what that was. This is the finish cut, and again we put it on the pad. We don't need much because the pad's already wet. See how I'm staying away from these stripes? If you go over that with this buffing compound, you'll burn right through them. Now we'll wipe this residue off. And now we got to put a coat of wax on this. And this is probably the hardest part of the job. There's no machine that can duplicate this, and it takes effort to make it go on correctly. And you don't want it too thick, you don't want it too thin, and you should work on small areas. I don't do that. I do the whole hood, and then I'll wipe it down. With the whole hood waxed, we can wipe off the residue and see if we've made any improvements. Well, what do you think? I think there's an improvement, and we'll get the body looking that way too. So we can go back to working on the insulation on the bottom side. There's several ways of attaching the insulation to the underside of the hood. It looks like the manufacturers glued it down with some kind of tar or something, and it wasn't a contact cement. We're going to use contact cement, and we'll spray it out. All right, if you want to move the camera. You go put that back on the tripod. Don't let it touch the hood. You got it?
No, not yet. I got it.
All right, you see the marks, right?
You see the mark. Oh, I'm too far up. How do I get over this thing?
It's down. Put it down.
How do I get over this
Push
thing?
it down.
With what hand?
Yeah. All right. Oh, I got some on there. Okay, let's pull this tape off.
My goodness. How could you read that?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Look at the front. Maybe it says on the front.
Well, it has this.
What does that say? 60 minutes? Or 60 minutes to put it on?
I don't know.
That's not very helpful.
No.
Okay, I'm going to go make dinner.
All right. Thank you. I have all the hardware for the hood tumbled and powder coated, except for the hood supports, which I just left alone. I imagine I could paint them black and make them look normal, but I'm going to leave them alone just the way it is. Everything else has been tumbled and powder coated and ready to go on the vehicle. We're ready to install our window rest. And it goes about here, but about's not going to do it. We have to locate exactly where those holes are. And what I'm going to do is take a little punch here and poke up through the insulation. And that locates that hole. And we'll locate the next one. There we go. Now we could just take the plate and bolt it down over the insulation, but that's not how I've seen it pictured. I've seen it pictured with the insulation cut out around the plate. So the way I'm going to get that done is I'm going to take a bolt and push it down through the insulation through the hole in the hood. Do the same thing on this side. And put nuts on the other side. With a plate finger tight bolted exactly in position, we'll take a razor blade knife with a sharp blade and we'll carefully cut around the outside edge. Remove the plate, remove the insulation, as much of it as I can. Take our reinforcement plate, put it in position. Take our window rest and put it in the holes. Put some nuts on it.
And with that, the hold downs are done. Last thing we have to do is put on our hood catch. We want to make sure that we don't put it on upside down. And we'll put the first bolt in, and we'll put a nut in the socket, feed it through this access hole here, and screw it onto the bolt. And the hood is done.
And now we start the same process over again. We start with a good washing. And, as you may guess, scrubbing and rubbing and polishing. But you know what? I'm not going to make you sit through it. I'll show you the start here, and I'll show you the end. I believe this is worthy of putting on the front of the Jeep. It came up pretty nice. There are some holes here. There's a hole there and a hole there, a hole there, and a hole there where you must have had a cover over the grill. This thing came from a cold climate based on what I've been finding, and high altitude. So it came from the mountains. The reason I know it came from the high altitudes is because there's a placard right here that says it's for high altitude. It says so right here. This vehicle intended for principal use at high altitude. We won't spray the door down with the hose. We'll just use some glass cleaner. It's not that dirty. And we'll clean the whole thing up. It's going to be a little different than the rest of the panels because we've got this interior panel to work with. And we'll spray up this vinyl with a vinyl cleaner. I'm just about out. Wipe that off. Comes up dirty. Now we'll put a coat of wax on all the metal. And I waxed the weather strip too. We'll wipe that wax off. We'll put some chrome polish on the pillar here. And finally, we'll clean up the inside of the window. Oh, there's something on the window right there. There's some glue on the glass here. Now we can flip it over. First thing I want to do is I want to take the hinges off, and I want to do that for two reasons.
I want a flat surface to buff, and I want these hinges to match all the other ones that I've painted. Now we gotta get the hinge off the body. There's one, there's two on the floor. It's wash time. And start with our rubbing compound. We'll stay away from the applique. New pad and polishing compound. We'll put some wax on. Some chrome polish on the pillar. A little glass cleaner. Let's take a closer look at the final result, and I think it's acceptable. I don't know what I'm going to do with the appliques yet. With the removal of the wax off of the tailgate, this completes all the separate pieces I have except for the windshield. And the windshield I want to do as a separate project. I'm not sure what's going to be involved there, but I want to do that as a separate project. So I think we've met our goals. I found something to do while I was waiting for the paint to come for the firewall and the stuff to be tumbled in the tumbler, and now I can move on. So if you enjoyed this video, there will be more.